Good evening. Welcome to the July 10th, 2023 Troy City Council meeting. Please rise for the invocation and remain standing for our Pledge of Allegiance. We come to you, O Lord, this evening with many blessings and thanks in our hearts for all that you've given to each and every one of us here in the city of Troy. And we ask that you continue to bless our entire city this evening and through the week. We ask that you bless those of us in this council chamber this evening, whether we are here to speak, whether we are here to listen, whether we are here to comprehend and make decisions. Be with us always, reminding us that we should be mindful of all that we represent in this city and all that we are as a community. We ask that you continue to be with our first responders, our police and firefighters, our EMS contract workers, our DPW workers. Keep them safe and recognize the valiant efforts they are doing on behalf of our city that makes Troy what it is and makes it so special. And please be with those individuals, Lord, who need your help, and especially those who may not be strong enough to ask for your help. We ask that you continue to bless us and be with us always. In his name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll call the July 10th, 2023 Troy City Council meeting to order and ask for the roll call from Ms. Dixon.
Mayor Baker?
Here.
Councilmember Abraham?
Here.
Councilmember Brooks?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Chamberlain Krenga?
Here.
Councilmember Erickson Galt?
Here.
Councilmember Hamilton? Councilmember Hoderick?
Here.
We do have quorum this evening. I did receive notification from Councilmember Hamilton that he would be unable to attend this evening due to an illness. So I'll move resolved. The Troy City Council hereby excuses the absence of Councilmember David Hamilton at the regular City Council meeting of July 10th, 2023 due to an illness.
Support.
Moved by the chair, supported by Mayor Pro Tem Chamberlain Krenga, that we approve the resolution to excuse Councilmember David Hamilton this evening as read into the record. Any discussion? The vote, Ms. Dixon.
Mayor Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Abraham?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chamberlain Krenga?
Yes.
Councilmember Erickson Galt?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoderick?
Yes.
Motion carries. First up are certificates of recognition and special presentations. We have one presentation this evening. C1 is the library strategic planning presentation, and that'll be presented by Emily Dumas, our library director. Good evening, Emily.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight I wanted to share some updates about Troy Public Library's strategic planning process. First, a little bit about a strategic plan. A solid strategic plan is important to our organization because it creates a roadmap for the library's future. It helps us to set goals and figure out the best ways to achieve them. By having a plan in place, we can make sure the library keeps growing and evolving to meet the changing needs of our community. One aspect of the strategic plan that is important to all of us involved is that it is driven by public input. We want to hear the community's ideas, thoughts, and big dreams for our library. These unique perspectives can bring valuable insights to the table and make sure we're considering everyone's needs. We begin with an invitation to the public to participate in a survey that covers all areas of library service, from the collection to programming to the library building itself. So far, we've received 1,200 responses, 94% of which are Troy residents. This is fantastic, but we want more. The survey will remain open until September 15th, and the URL and QR code are shared on your screen. The survey takes about 15 minutes to complete, and there are also paper copies available at the library for anyone who prefers it. I invite all who have not to please take it and to provide your input. We are also hosting a community conversation at the library to offer an in-person chance for the public to share their insight. Our facilitators from Rethinking Libraries will lead groups and discussions that gather input about the future direction of Troy Library and what the community needs from their library. These hour-long sessions will take place in the library's meeting room on Wednesday, July 12th at either 10 a.m. or 6:30 p.m. Anyone interested can sign up using our calendar at troypl.org/calendar. I invite everyone to join us in planning for the future of Troy Public Library. I truly believe the best plans are made when everyone has a chance to contribute. So let's work together to make a library that will continue to educate, inspire, and bring the community together. Please let your voice be heard by completing our survey and joining in the community conversation on July 12th. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thanks, Emily. Any questions from council? Mayor Pro Tem Chamberlain Krenga.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for that update and presentation. Emily, can you remind me, is it a third-party consultant, Rethinking Libraries, that is collecting the data of the survey? So it's not the library itself, but it is a third party?
Yes, correct. Rethinking Libraries, they created the survey, and they collect the results, and they will put it together in an informational report for us at the end.
Excellent. And then they're also working on the strategic planning process as well.
Correct. Yeah, they're actually the ones who facilitate the community conversations. Like myself and the staff are not even in the room for those.
Excellent, thank you.
Awesome. Anybody up here taking the survey yet? I took the survey.
Oh,
I took it. So I was
okay.
at the library yesterday with my daughter. She was getting books, and I was sitting out there, and while she was looking, I thought, you know what? I'm going to use the QR code. It was really easy, but I just want to say, it's a really interesting survey to take as somebody taking it, because it does ask a lot of questions that were very thought-provoking and made me think about the library, how I already thought of it in many good ways, and then maybe expanded my mind a little bit on it. So I urge everybody out there to definitely take it. It could take 15 minutes, but it moves quickly. It doesn't
Give or
feel like a
take.
long commitment, so I urge you to take it if you
Yeah.
haven't already. But it's very, very good, and I'm glad to see that happening.
Wonderful.
Thanks,
Well,
Emily.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
That concludes certificates of recognition and special presentations this evening. We don't have any carryover items or public hearings this evening. And we don't have public comment for items on the agenda from Troy residents and businesses. So no need for reply now. No postponed items, so we'll move on to regular business. I1 is board and committee appointments. There are no mayoral appointments this evening or city council appointments. I2 are board and committee nominations. I don't have any mayoral nominations this evening, and I believe there are no council nominations either. So we move on to I3, which is a request for closed session. I'll move, be it resolved that City Council shall meet in closed session as permitted by MCL 15.268C, Troy Police Officers Association.
Support.
Moved by the chair, supported by Councilmember Abraham, that we approve I3 request for closed session as printed in the agenda packet and read into the record. Any discussion? The vote, Ms. Dixon.
Councilmember Abraham?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chamberlain Craig?
Yes.
Councilmember Erickson Galt?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoderick?
Yes.
Mayor Baker?
Yes, motion carries. So at the conclusion of the public meeting, we'll recess from in here and pick up from the closed session in the council boardroom, and I expect that we will then adjourn the meeting at the end of the closed session from in there. Next up is I4, Budget Amendment and Standard Purchasing Resolution 4, NCPA/Omnia Partners and Oakland County Cooperative Purchasing Contracts, Troy Public Library, IT Network Room Relocation. That'll be introduced by Philip Quick, our Assistant Library Director.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for having me here tonight. This request is for a budget amendment and a cooperative contract approvals to move the library's IT network from its current location to a dedicated network room. Currently, as you saw from the photos that I attached to the proposal, the network equipment is housed in the same room that houses our janitorial staff and chemicals. So we have a lot of electrical pieces in with that combination of things. This has been on the library's wish list for many years, but with the layers and layers of cabling and wiring throughout the building, it's sort of hard to figure out how to do that project and where to put this IT equipment. This past spring, we took another look at the issue with our fairly new IT director. We had a new set of eyes look at it. We were able to identify a room that unfortunately takes up some of our limited storage space, but it does get us our goal of creating a dedicated IT room. We originally thought this project was going to be an operating expense. However, as we looked into it, it became clear that we really needed to upgrade the city's electrical capacity while we were doing it. So some of the money for this goes into putting in a new upgraded distribution panel. So I pushed the cost into a capital expense. The move is expected to take 2 to 3 days. We've tentatively scheduled it around Troy days. So we're going to be closed to the public that weekend anyway, so it shouldn't interrupt service to the public at all. The total we're requesting is $39,622 with a 20% contingency fee, which is a little higher than we would normally have for contingency, but once we're starting to look into the walls of the library, we're not sure what exactly we're going to find. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Phil. I know a couple questions were answered before, or asked and answered before in writing. Any additional questions from council? I'd like to move the resolution. Councilmember Erickson Galt.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move I-4 Budget Amendment and Standard Purchasing Resolution 4, NCPA/Omni Partners and Oakland County Cooperative Purchasing Contracts, Troy Public Library IT Network Room Relocation, as printed in the agenda.
Support.
You didn't sound like you, all right.
This is a little.
Moved by Councilmember Erickson Galt, supported by Councilmember Brooks, that we approve I-4 Budget Amendment and Standard Purchasing Resolution 4, NCPA/Omnia Partners and Oakland County Cooperative Purchasing Contracts, Troy Public Library IT Network Room Relocation, as printed in the agenda packet. Any discussion? Vote, Ms. Dixon?
Councilmember Brooks.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chamberlain Craig-A.
Yes.
Councilmember Erickson Galt.
Yes.
Councilmember Hoderick.
Yes.
Mayor Baker.
Yes.
Councilmember Abraham.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next up is I-5 Budget Amendment and Standard Purchasing Resolution 4, Oakland County Purchasing Cooperative, Troy Public Library Youth Story and Craft Room HVAC Installation, also introduced by Phil Quick.
Thank you again. This request is for a budget amendment and contract approval to install a new HVAC unit in the youth area of the library, in particular above the youth and above the story and craft room in the library. The story and craft room was not originally a room. It was a wing of the old building. At some point in the library's history, it was closed off after the expansion to create a room for story and for craft for young people. Unfortunately, at the time that was done, no thought looked like it was given to the environment of the area, so no environmental controls were put in that room. Over the years, as the room's been used more and more, and it's become busier and busier and used for staff things, used for expanded children's activity, staff and the public have commented on the deterioration of the air quality in the room. So at this point, the library is requesting a dedicated unit for that area of the building. Installation of this project is scheduled to take about 2 to 3 weeks. The lead time is about 4 months, so we would anticipate some kind of installation at the end of the year, which is actually good timing for us because the library slows down at the end of the year holiday season. The total we're requesting for budget amendment is, plus contingency, is $84,640. And I answer any questions.
Thanks, Bill. Any additional questions? Someone like to move this resolution? Mayor Pro Tem Chamberlain Craig-A.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move I-5 Budget Amendment and Standard Purchasing Resolution 4, Oakland County Purchasing Cooperative, Troy Public Library Youth Story and Craft Room HVAC Installation, as printed in the agenda packet. Support.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem Chamberlain Craig-A, supported by Councilmember Abraham, that we approve I-5 Budget Amendment and Standard Purchasing Resolution 4, Oakland County Purchasing Cooperative, Troy Public Library Youth Story and Craft Room HVAC Installation, as printed in the agenda packet. Any discussion? That vote, Ms. Dixon?
Mayor Pro Tem Chamberlain Craig-A.
Yes.
Councilmember Erickson Galt.
Yes.
Councilmember Hoderick.
Yes.
Mayor Baker.
Yes.
Councilmember Abraham.
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks.
Yes.
Motion carries. That doesn't conclude regular business. That concludes Troy Public Library night that we've had so far, so thank you. Next up is I-6 Bid Waiver Purchase, Sarah Ames LLC, Independent Service Provider, Administration of Certificate of Occupancy Permits for the City of Troy Building Department. That'll be introduced by our building official, Salim Herta.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council members. I am here to present a purchase bid waiver for the Sarah Ames LLC. Per Section 111 of the 2015 Michigan Building Code, the City of Troy Building Department is to manage certificates of occupancy, and this task involves also managing certificates of occupancy for existing buildings. The building official, along with the fire department, has worked on a set of rules in procedures for existing building certificates of occupancy, which the task took over a year. The document went back and forth. It was a 2-page document. That's how long it took to get it right. And it's very important to get it right. The official would like to have Sarah LLC manage the commercial certificates of occupancy of existing buildings, mainly because she has worked before as an assistant to the city manager, and so she was able to develop relationships with multiple people from other departments, as well as acquire very unique knowledge of the building department, because she was a key element to the formation of the building department. So this is why, for us, she's highly valuable, and we would like to bring back talent and have us help us with that task. So that's all I need to say.
Thank you, Salim.
If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Any questions? Mayor Pro Tem Chamberlain Craig.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick question. So is there someone who's currently doing this, and is this kind of frees up their ability to do other important things that need to be done?
Yes, I will explain to you. So at the present time, we're creating new certificates of occupancy, and the task of existing buildings was not worked on for 12 years. So we would like to start this task as it should be per the building code, and be further into compliance and to have safer buildings for the city of Troy.
Thank you. Any other questions? Anyone like to move the resolution? Councilmember Hoderick.
Thank you, Mayor. I will move I-6, bid waiver purchase, Sarah Ames LLC, independent service provider, administration of certificate of occupancy permits for the City of Troy Building Department, as printed in the agenda packet.
Support.
Moved by Councilmember Hoderick, supported by Councilmember Erickson Galt, that we approve I-6 bid waiver purchase, Sarah Ames LLC, independent service provider, administration of certificate of occupancy permits for the City of Troy Building Department as printed in the agenda packet. Any discussion? The vote, Ms. Dixon.
Councilmember Erickson Galt.
Yes.
Councilmember Hoderick.
Yes.
Mayor Baker.
Yes.
Councilmember Abraham.
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chamberlain Craig.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Salim. Have a good evening. That concludes regular business this evening. Next up is the consent agenda. Would anyone like to pull an item from the consent agenda for further discussion? Councilmember Abraham.
I'd like to move all items on the consent agenda as printed.
Support.
Moved by Councilmember Abraham, supported by Councilmember Erickson Galt, that we approve all items on the consent agenda as printed in the agenda packet. Any discussion? Vote, Ms. Dixon.
Councilmember Hoderick.
Yes.
Mayor Baker.
Yes.
Councilmember Abraham.
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chamberlain Craig.
Yes.
Councilmember Erickson Galt.
Yes.
Motion carries. If you're here for an item on the consent agenda this evening, all of them have been approved. Next up are memorandums and future council agenda items. There are no public hearings to announce, but I do have a memorandum for K2. I'd like to announce make notice of the proposed amendment to Title VII, Business and Trades, Chapter 60, Fees and Bonds Required. And it is in the portal or in the backup material, and I'm sure if there's any questions, some have already been asked, we can continue to ask city administration and they'll provide answers to us. Is that right, city attorney and city manager?
That is correct,
All right,
yes.
thank you. All right, next up is public comment for items not on the agenda from Troy residents and businesses. We have a few people signed up this evening. As a reminder, per our city council rules of procedure, you have 3 minutes to speak at the public microphone. You're speaking to all of us as a group. It's not an opportunity for a back and forth question and answer period. There'll be a timer going in front of you. When the light turns yellow, that does mean you have 1 minute left. And then when it turns red, that does mean your time is up. So please respect those rules. And I'll call the first person is Cass Tacey this evening.
Hi, can I pass out pictures to the board?
Sure, if you could hand them to our city clerk, she'll handle that for you.
While I was in Florida, I noticed something, because I'm not particularly fond of Florida, but we were riding bikes and different things, and their stop signs are before the sidewalk. It says, "Stop here." In Troy, I used to ride my bike up to the community center. I almost got killed several times, because people will just drive right up to the road and not look at the sidewalk. And I took that picture at Costco because they have, and I don't know who makes signs for the cities, but these are painted on the ground, which would be the cheapest way to do it, to say stop here before the sidewalk, and then move on. The other issue is where CVS is on Big Beaver, they have a sign that juts out on the side. You cannot see on the road or on the driveway there pulling out to Big Beaver, and they can't see you. So it's not safe at all there. It shouldn't be sticking out, blocking that. So I'm asking the city council to look into safer ways for bicyclers and pedestrians. That mostly, my biggest concern is this driving through the sidewalk. People don't stop, they don't look, they just go there because they're in a big hurry. So that's what I'm asking the council to look into.
Thank you, Ms. Stacy, I appreciate that. Next up, signed up are Sneha and Swathi.
Good evening, council members. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you all. My name is Sneha Chandrasekhar, an 11th grader from Troy High.
My name is Swathi Jita, a 10th grader at Troy High.
We are members of the nonprofit Pampa Kannada Kuta, an organization dedicated to expanding the cultural diversity in our community. We are also involved in community service and are in the process of establishing a nonprofit run by youth in our community. We plan on focusing our efforts on education and youth involvement through our nonprofit and Pampa itself.
We are here to invite you to our annual Sports Day event, a volleyball and throw ball fundraiser at Firefighters Park, Saturday, July 22nd. Last year, with this fundraiser, we were able to donate $1,000 to a local Detroit school, Carleton Elementary, driven by the startling disparity we noticed between our quality of education and theirs. We recognize as students of the Troy School District, we have a very privileged education and a lot of opportunities that we want to bring to others as well.
We've learned to appreciate the value of education and community, and this volleyball and throwball fundraiser is a way that we can give back. This year, our goal is $3,000. We hope you will join us.
Once again, I cordially invite you all to join us. One of our members, Mahir, will now give you a flyer. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you give them all to her and she'll hand them out to us, just because those are our rules? Thank you. Thank you. If there's extras, we'll give them back, okay? Thank you. All right, next up is Graham Bush.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. As you probably all heard, the $10 million has been submitted and will become part of the Michigan government budget for the I-75 noise improvements. I would like to thank you all for your support in trying to get us there. As a resident team, we pushed. You then came and followed up and helped us out, and I appreciate the meeting that you held with the thing. However, next steps. The $10 million only covers part of the freeway in Troy. So we've still got to push for more, right? Okay, so we get some on Firefighters Park, we get all the rest of it. The justification process that the federal government used that MDOT have adopted dates back to 1997. It's over 25 years old. MDOT use a variation of that. However, in my discussions with the federal authorities, they say they're now doing research on new techniques, new methods, and new technologies because they recognize that electric vehicles are going to have a different noise signature. They're going to, in other words, the whole thing's going to change. So I plan to stay in contact with them still, and I plan to continue to talk to the Michigan state government people to say, okay, in what you're going to do, is it for the future? Talk to the federal people, including the noise expert, and say, okay, how can Troy become part of this? Can we use some of the new technologies that the federal people are thinking of and apply it to using this money so that we all benefit and perhaps Troy can sell that whole concept as, look, Troy's doing things for the future. I don't know yet, okay? Anyway, in summary, thank you all very much again for your support. And no, we haven't stopped. We have to do it for all the other subdivisions too. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bush. Next up is Vinod Mudalir. Where'd you go? Be out there?
Yeah.
Good evening.
Sorry about that.
All right.
I wanted to pass this on.
To the city clerk.
Sorry about that, Honorable Mayor. I'm here basically to say a thank you note. First of all, thank you for once again giving me the opportunity to come and speak here. We had a different plan of bringing the entire group that actually practices and plays cricket. We had practice in Pontiac and in Lion Oaks. I miscalculated it, thinking that it's going to be Tuesday, but last minute I had to make some different plan. So basically printed a representing a photo and a thank you note, basically. Having said that, I would start. I want to start with a statement. So getting I sent a thank you note to all of you, basically like getting the state funding approved to build a new cricket infrastructure. Thank you. Thank you. I know it requires a lot of listening and true understanding, and I really want to acknowledge that you acknowledged our requirement and basically advocated for us and went all the way up. I know how hard it would have been prioritizing. There's probably millions of priorities. Putting cricket as a priority would require trumping something else, I know. So having said that, I wanted to say once again thank you. We personally wanted to thank you, Representative Sharon McDonald. She made some last-minute push, reaching out to us, having people write, because we come and represent, but there's no true representation in writing. So we had to make that. And then obviously Honorable Mayor for all along supporting us, listening to us, and the council members right here, and especially Councilmember Ann Erickson, who is a supporter for years, and Mr. Kurt Bovensip, who as soon as the petitions came, he acted on it. He found a place. So I can see that he is so supportive, and City Manager Mark Miller. So just a thank you note. I just wanted to come here and personally, on behalf of our Michigan Youth Cricket, we wanted to just come. So with that said, I have one more thing to share. We actually, for the first time, there's something called Major League Cricket Youth Tournament that happens. This is a third year. For the first time, we got the seat in it in order to play. So in this summer tournament, we won the runners-up. We were pretty close to, yeah. So with the limited resources, I wanted to acknowledge, imagine if you have more, we would be like excelling. So we made our mark in the map. And we produced one under 15 player last year. And this year we produced one U19, under 19 players played in the national tournament this year. So having said that, more the resources is better for us. Thank you for everything, and thank you for the extra time.
Thank you, Vinod. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Next up is Nikhil Mudaliar.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and all City Council members. My name is Nikhil Mudaliar, and I'm a cricket player at Michigan Youth Cricket Academy. I just want to thank you for supporting the cricket community by getting the approval for the cricket pitch, as well as the $900,000 required to build it. I'm very excited to practice and utilize the incoming facilities. But in Michigan, we have a concrete mat, which is used to bounce the ball. So the thing with the concrete mat, it skids through. So in other places, such as like Houston and North Carolina, which are where the major tournaments are happening, it's natural turf, which is just rolled clay. So the ball, when it bounces, it sticks and it comes a little bit slower. So for our players from Michigan to go and compete in like national level tournaments, it's very difficult to succeed because we practice with completely different, like the pitch, the ball comes on differently. So the timing, which way the way we hit the ball, everything has to change when we go out. So I just hope that when we put in the pitch, we get a hybrid turf, which is a mix between the concrete and natural. So then it like helps us to prepare and allows us to have a better chance to succeed for national tournaments and produce players for the USA cricket team. Thank you for giving me the time to speak today.
Thank you, Nikhil, very much. That concludes those that have signed up for public comment for items not on the agenda from Troy residents and businesses. Now is an opportunity for response and reply. I'll go ahead. I have a couple things to say, sorry. I'll start at the end with the cricket. All of us worked very hard. I know you thanked all of us, but every one of us has supported this project and done what we can to help. So I'm really excited that it's worked, and I do want to thank City Manager Miller and Public Work Director Bovensieb for the work they've done to find a location for it and to put the request into our state government representatives to have this be included in part of their budget. And of course to Representative McDonald for making sure that up until the last minute, as I understand, trying to get that into the budget. And so very thankful for all of that and very excited to work towards getting the design done. Thank you, Nikhil, for the comments on, or the recommendations. Hopefully whoever's working on that design project heard that. I'm looking at you, Kurt. I'm assuming that'll be something you'll be looking at, but it's going to be exciting when we get to see it be built and get to open it officially. Looking forward to that. So thank you for your thank you. It's been wonderful to have the opportunity to talk with you over the past couple of years especially, and learn a little bit more about cricket myself, but also to have your advocacy and your passion show through in our city and community. So thank you. Mr. Bush, same thing. Yes, there's always more to be done, right? I think this was a great opportunity to see everyone working together, and we know that there are other sections of our city who are still suffering with the noise, and we'll continue to do what we can, I think, to support helping them as well. And I appreciate your recommendations from the federal standpoint, and we'll continue to talk about that. I just want to thank you for coming forward this evening. Sneha and Swathi, thank you again for coming forward, and I appreciate the invitation and the good work you're doing. I love to see our high school students and all of our students doing great, important nonprofit work in our community. It's one of the proudest things I think all of us get to talk about when we know that this kind of work is being done. So thank you, and thanks for coming forward this evening and sharing, and you did a great presentation as two of you. So good job. And Ms. Tacey, sorry, first but not last, I will, I'm sure we'll look into, safety is very important. Obviously, there are rules and regulations that we follow and comply with, but if we could probably connect you with somebody who's more directly involved in one of those departments to have a deeper conversation about that. So City Manager Miller, I don't know if you can, perfect. Okay, if you can connect somehow or connect with that person, that'd be great, because it's outside of our scope other than to say thank you for coming. So, all right, anyone else want to add anything? All right. Next up, our council referrals. We don't have any this evening. So we move on to reports. There's really just one report. Does anyone have any comments on the reports this evening? Didn't think so. So we move on to council comments.
Quick comment.
Oh, sure. Councilmember Brooks.
Thanks. I just want to make mention of on Wednesday, July 12th, the Troy Garden Club will have their 48th annual garden walk. This is a wonderful event. You can kind of go at your leisure and visit the different gardens that residents have kind of set up and spent a lot of time and energy maintaining these beautiful gardens. You can find information online. Tickets are $15. I think they're selling them in person at various locations, but I don't want to misrepresent it. So just check out the information online, but it's a great event. So that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Additional council comments? No? Good? No? Yes, go ahead. Mayor Pro Tem Chamberlain Kranga.
Thank you. Why not? I did just want to go back to the consent agenda under J9, 2023 City of Troy Advanced Meeting Facilitation Services. So again, just delighted that we as a council, this is part of our commitment that we really started a couple years ago to be strategic, to have these sessions in November. So I'm glad to see it on the agenda. We meet in November, and it's a chance to hear from the city in terms of the needs and talk about the priorities. And just so you know, it has been, whenever we have these meetings, we are bringing up our recreation needs. And you always heard us bringing up cricket. And I know some of you also came a couple years ago to one of those meetings, and we really appreciated that. And that's how you've brought your voice to bear, and we've sought to listen to all that you've had to say. But cricket, we know there's pickleball needs. But just, yeah, glad to see that we continue to be committed to that. And my other little push and nudge would be is that we also at some point make time as a council to think about the bigger strategic picture around some of our goals and again, what do we want to produce out of those that can be very succinct to be able to share with the public, so you all know that we are doing those and you know where our values and our goals, where they lie every year. So, but glad to see this year.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other council comments? I don't even have any this evening, which is rare for me. So, all right, next up is public comment for items on or not on the agenda from members of the public outside of Troy, not residents of Troy, and not from Troy businesses. I do have one person signed up, Darsh Desai. Bringing me a trophy. Maybe not.
Hi, my name is Darsh Desai, and I'm a player from Michigan Youth Cricket Academy. And I just wanted to thank everyone for making the cricket field in Troy, and this will bring a lot of players from outside and surrounding areas from our community. And this is the trophy that we won.
Very cool. Maybe our city clerk can show us. Nice. I thought you were going to walk it around like Vanna White, Amy, but I guess not.
It's heavy. It's heavy. It's heavy. Wow.
It's heavier than it looks. Very cool. Thank you, Darsh, for coming forward this evening. All right, that concludes those who've signed up for public comment for items on or not on the agenda from members of the public outside of Troy, not residents of Troy, and not from Troy businesses. We do have a closed session this evening, so I will recess in here and we'll pick up in the closed session in the boardroom.